Have you ever noticed how you can walk in the dark to the bathroom without tripping, yet feel unsure when going down an unfamiliar staircase? Or how you can feel perfectly steady in your own home but hesitate when stepping onto an uneven lawn or climbing up onto a slightly higher curb? Maybe you've noticed your legs tremble slightly when you get up from a very low armchair, or that you need to brace yourself against the wall when you bend down to tie your shoes. If any of these situations sound familiar, you're about to discover something that can completely transform your confidence and safety as you move through the world. My name is Dr. Robert Matthews, and at 62, after 4 decades practicing geriatric medicine, I can say I discovered something that completely changed the way I approach fall prevention in our senior patients. Allow me to share with you a story that began unexpectedly in my office on a rainy October morning. Violet, 73, walked into my office with that cautious gait I knew so well. Retired for 8 years, she had been an active librarian her entire life. "Dr. Matthews," she said, sitting down carefully in the chair, "I'm afraid of falling again. It's already happened 3 times in the last 6 months, and I don't know what else to do." I looked at Violet and saw the reflection of thousands of patients I'd treated over the years. The statistic that had always haunted me echoed in my mind. Every 11 seconds, an adult over 65 is treated in an emergency room because of falls. But that day, something made me question everything I thought I knew about balance. "Violet," I asked, "tell me about your daily activities. How do you spend your time at home?" She described her routine: waking up, having coffee, reading the newspaper, doing a few light household chores, watching television, preparing simple meals. An ordinary life, anyone would say. But that was when I realized something crucial. Violet, like most of my patients, lived in a predominantly 2-dimensional world. Let me explain better. Imagine that your whole life you drove only on straight roads, without curves, without climbs or descents. Suddenly, you have to navigate a mountain road full of sharp turns. That is exactly the dilemma our brains face when we age while living in flat, predictable environments. Violet was confined to uniform surfaces, chairs of the same height, repetitive movements in controlled environments like her home and the local supermarket, never needing to make sudden changes in direction or unexpected bodily adjustments. For years, I had focused on muscle strengthening and walking in a straight line as the main strategies to prevent falls. I recommended traditional exercises, stretching, and always emphasized walk slowly and pay attention to where you step. But Dorothy made me realize I was missing something fundamental. That afternoon, after Violet left, I did something I hadn't done in years. I deeply questioned my own medical practice. I grabbed a stack of recent studies on neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections even at an advanced age, and began connecting dots that had previously seemed isolated. I discovered that researchers at the University of Pittsburgh had identified something revolutionary. Balance isn't just a physical matter. It's a complex communication system among 3 main systems in our body. It's like an orchestra, where violins, piano, and drums need to play in perfect harmony. If one musician loses the beat, the entire symphony goes off-key. The first system is the vestibular, tiny structures in the inner ear that function like an internal GPS, telling us where we are in space. The second is the visual, our eyes that capture information about the surrounding environment. The third, and perhaps the most neglected, is the proprioceptive, thousands of sensors in our muscles, tendons, and joints that constantly send messages to the brain about our body's position. But here's the secret that changed my practice. These 3 systems need to be challenged in a 3-dimensional and unpredictable way to stay sharp. It's like learning to drive again, but this time in every possible direction. I began to realize that the traditional exercises I prescribed were like training a pianist, only with simple scales, when he needed to be prepared to play a complex Beethoven sonata. Walking in a straight line is important, yes, but it represents only 5% of the movements we make in our daily lives. I thought about everyday situations, picking up an object that fell behind the couch, leaning to reach something on a high shelf, turning quickly when someone calls our name, climbing a staircase while carrying bags, dodging a pet that crosses our path unexpectedly. All these movements demand what I call 3-dimensional dynamic balance. That's when I had an epiphany. I remembered my grandfather, who at 85 could still climb trees to pick apples on his farm. He never did a formal balance exercise in his life, but he spent his days navigating uneven terrain, climbing old wooden ladders, carrying heavy buckets, and constantly adjusting his body to unpredictable challenges. His brain was constantly being trained without him knowing it. This discovery made me completely rethink my approach. I began to develop what I called the 3-dimensional balance protocol, a set of exercises and activities that challenge the 3 sensory systems simultaneously in a safe but progressively complex way. The science behind this is fascinating. When we challenge our balance system with multi-directional movements, we force the brain to create new neural connections. It's like building secondary roads in a city. If the main road gets congested, traffic finds alternative paths. Studies show that adults practicing activities with changes of direction, such as dance or Tai Chi, have 37% fewer serious falls. I tried this protocol myself. After all, as a 62-year-old physician in clinics and hospitals, predictable environments, I was also living in that two-dimensional world. And with that experience, I'm going to teach you in the next few minutes a revolutionary test that takes just 30 seconds and will help you identify which of your three systems has been secretly sabotaging your balance for years. While talking with Violet, I proposed the following test. I grabbed my stopwatch and explained, I'm going to ask you to do 3 small exercises. Each one will test one of the 3 systems that control your balance. Think of them as the 3 pillars of a bridge. If one is weak, the whole structure becomes unstable. The visual system test, 10 seconds. First, I want you to stand with your feet together looking at that point on the wall. I pointed to a picture in front of her. Hold that position for 10 seconds. Seems easy, doesn't it? Dorothy assumed the position without difficulty. Her eyes fixed on the point, her body remained steady. Very good, I said, jotting down. Visual system, working properly. The proprioceptive system test, 10 seconds. Now the same position, but I want you to close your eyes for 10 seconds. The result was immediate and revealing. As soon as Dorothy closed her eyes, her body began to sway slightly. It wasn't a dangerous sway, but definitely noticeable. She opened her eyes before the full 10 seconds were up. I felt like I was going to fall, she admitted with a look of surprise. I noted, proprioceptive system, compromised. It was exactly what I suspected. The vestibular system test, 10 seconds. For the last test, I want you to stand in the same position, eyes open, but now tilt your head back as if you were looking at the ceiling. Violet hesitated. Doctor, just thinking about that already makes me feel dizzy. Perfect, I replied. That tells me exactly what I need to know. I explained to Violet what I had discovered. Your eyes, the visual system, are working perfectly. Your inner ear, the vestibular system, is also functioning well because when you felt dizzy just thinking about tilting your head, that showed it's alert and protecting you from movements that could cause imbalance. But your body sensors, what we call the proprioceptive system, have lost part of their accuracy. The revelation. Imagine you have 3 security alarms at home, I continued. The first detects movement through the windows, the second listens for suspicious sounds, and the third senses vibrations on the floor. If the vibration sensor isn't working properly, you wouldn't know if someone is walking quietly through the house, even if the other alarms are perfect. Do it yourself. Now, if that made sense to you, try this test right now. Find a safe spot, near a wall or sturdy piece of furniture for support if needed. 1, stand with your feet together, look at a fixed point in front of you for 10 seconds. 2, close your eyes and maintain the same position for 10 seconds. 3, observe. Do you sway more with your eyes closed? If the answer is yes, your proprioceptive system needs attention, and you're about to discover how to wake it up again. In addition, I'm going to show you how the objects in your home can become powerful tools for balance recovery, starting with something you probably wouldn't even imagine. Dr. Matthews, Violet said at the next appointment, I did that test at home and you were right. When I close my eyes, I sway like a tree in the wind. But what can I do? I smiled and picked up something unexpected. A simple couch cushion. Violet looked at me as if I had lost my mind. Violet, this cushion is going to become your best ally in regaining your balance, and you probably have 3 of these at home. The secret of unstable surfaces. Remember when we talked about living in a 2-dimensional world? A cushion on the floor instantly creates a small 3-dimensional world. It's like turning a smooth road into a mountain trail, but in a safe way. I demonstrated by stepping onto the cushion. When you step on an unstable surface, thousands of sensors in your feet, ankles, and legs are forced to wake up. It's like turning on the lights in a dark house. The cushion protocol. I positioned Violet near the wall. Step onto the cushion with both feet, keeping one hand on the wall. The result was immediate. Violet began making constant micro-adjustments with her feet. I feel my muscles talking to each other in a way they haven't in years, she observed. Exactly. That conversation is proprioception in action. Every sway forces your brain to process information and send correction commands. The guidance given to Violet about this first exercise was as follows. Simple weekly progression. Week 1, 30 seconds on the cushion, twice a day, with support on the wall. Week 2, just lightly touching the wall. Week 3, arms crossed, no support. Week 4, add slow head movements. Violet's progress was surprising. 3 weeks later, I saw her again in my office, smiling. Doctor, I tripped on a folded rug, but my body corrected itself automatically. I didn't fall. I repeated the 30-second test for evaluation, and this time, Violet managed to keep her eyes closed the entire time, with minimal sway. Her proprioceptive system had woken up, but the cushion was only the first step. The next object that would transform Violet's life was literally right under her nose, on every staircase in her house. And I'm sure it's in yours too. 2 months later, Violet arrived at the office, walking in a completely different way. There was confidence in her steps, a more upright posture, but she brought an intriguing question. Dr. Matthews, the cushion worked wonderfully, but yesterday, going up the stairs at home, I noticed something strange. My right leg felt weaker than the left. Is that normal? Maybe you felt something similar? Have you noticed that when you climb stairs, one leg pulls more than the other? Or that you always rely on the same handrail? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and you're about to discover why that happens. I smiled because Violet had discovered on her own something I was about to teach. Violet, you've just identified the next level of your training, and the tool has literally been under your feet for decades. The staircase as a balance laboratory. Think of the stairs in your house not just as a way to get around, but as the most sophisticated piece of gym equipment ever invented, I explained. Each step offers 3 different types of balance challenges. I led Violet to the staircase in the office. First, going up requires one leg to support your entire body weight while the other lifts. Second, going down forces the brain to calculate distances and control speed. Third, the alternating movement reveals imbalances between the sides of the body. The single-step protocol. Let's start simple, I said, positioning Violet in front of the first step. I want you to go up and down just this step, slowly, 10 times. But pay attention, which leg feels more difficulty? Violet performed the exercise. The right one, definitely the right, she confirmed. Perfect. Now we know exactly where to focus. This is what I call functional asymmetry, when one side of the body loses strength or coordination more than the other. The science of unilateral movement. I explained to Violet, studies from the National Institute of Health show that 78% of adults over 65 develop some asymmetry in their legs. This happens because we tend to favor one side unconsciously. It's like driving a car with misaligned tires. You can reach your destination, but the vehicle pulls to one side and wears out faster. And now you can prove the asymmetry thesis yourself. If you have a staircase at home, or even a single entry step, try this. 1. Detection test. Go up and down the first step 10 times, slowly. 2. Identify which leg feels more difficulty. 3. Focused exercise. Do 5 extra step-ups using only the weaker leg 4. Support. Always keep the handrail within reach. To progress, once a day, step up onto the first step with the leg you feel is weaker 5 times. Step down normally. In 2 weeks, increase to 8 times. 6 weeks later, Violet returned, beaming. Doctor, I can't believe it. Yesterday I climbed 2 flights of stairs carrying bags and didn't feel any difference between my legs. And more importantly, I wasn't afraid. I did the final test with her. Violet stepped up and down the step 15 times, alternating legs, without any hesitation or visible imbalance. Your brain has relearned to trust both legs equally, I explained. It's like having 2 equally trained soldiers guarding your stability instead of one strong and one weak. Finally, the last and most powerful secret. How a change in the way you walk can multiply all the benefits gained so far. 3 months later, Violet walked into my office for the last time as a regular patient. She moved with a confidence I hadn't seen in years, but she had one last question. Dr. Matthews, I turned my house into a rehabilitation center, she laughed. Cushions, stairs, daily exercises. But is there something I can do during my daily walks in the park to maintain all these gains? That was exactly the question I'd been waiting for. Violet, you're ready to discover the most powerful secret of all. And it doesn't require any equipment, just a simple change in how you walk. The revelation of 3-dimensional walking. For decades, you've walked in a straight line, always looking forward. But what if I told you that varying your movement patterns while walking can be more effective than any gym exercise? I took Violet to the hallway of the office. Today, I'm going to teach you conscious walking, a technique that turns any stroll into a complete balance training session. The 5 elements of conscious walking. 1. Direction changes. Every 20 steps, make a gentle turn to the right or left. This forces your brain to recalculate constantly. 2. Speed variation. Walk 10 steps normally, then 10 steps more slowly, then 10 slightly faster, like shifting gears in a car. 3. Head movements. While walking, occasionally look up, clouds, trees, then down, ground, flowers, then to the sides. 4. Active arms. Instead of letting your arms hang loose, make occasional broad movements, as if you were grabbing something on a high shelf. 5. Varied surfaces. Whenever possible, deliberately step on grass, stones, small elevations. Revolutionary science. Researchers at Harvard University discovered something extraordinary. Adults who practice varied walking develop 52% more neural connections related to balance than those who walk only in a straight line. And here's your personal protocol. Week 1, add only direction changes to your walks. Week 2, include speed variation. Week 3, add head movements. Week 4, combine all the elements. Your journey begins now. You've discovered the 3 pillars of balance that changed Violet's life: unstable surfaces, cushion, unilateral strengthening, stairs, and 3-dimensional movement, conscious walking. These exercises will completely transform your balance and confidence. Start today with just one of these elements and then share in the comments how you felt. Your freedom of movement is a cushion away. If you want to receive more content like this, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to leave your like. Life after 60 is a discovery of fullness and strength.